America's favorite hobbies is building puzzles. The more complex a puzzle becomes, however, the more obvious it shows that the best way to go about solving it is to follow a set method. We see that Donald Trump's new security team and himself is trying to build a puzzle of their own to create an idea of what they want foreign policy to look like. In fact, the Christian Science Monitor, dated on April 14, 2018, states that Donald Trump's disruptive style hasn't been seen in foreign policy, but with the new additions of John Bolton and Mike Pompeo, we're going to be seeing more of that more than ever. That's why it is pivotal to ask today's question. How is foreign policy going to look under Donald Trump's new security team? We see that it is going to look more like an America First nationalized mindset than ever before. And this can best be answered by looking at three main areas. First, looking at Iran. Second, looking at North Korea. But then third and finally, moving on into Syria. Whenever you first start building a puzzle, the best thing to do is to create a border. This gives you a broad outline of what your image is going to look like. Donald Trump and his team has created a broad border for what they want foreign policy to look like, starting with the Iran nuclear deal. The Hill describes on April 3rd that Donald Trump has until May 15th to make a decision on the nuclear deal. Right now, he wants to pull out completely because he says that the deal is being too lenient. And with Iran's new buildup of uranium, it makes a threat of nuclear disruption more high than ever. In fact, the Washington Post extends on this on April 5th by describing what the nuclear deal is. It was set up in 2015 by the Obama administration, but now it's left it where within 7 years, Iran has a chance to attack with all of this uranium. However, Donald Trump pulling out of Iran hasn't really been realistic up to this point until John Bolton came into the picture. John Bolton is really for pulling out of this Iranian deal. And so because of this, what we're seeing is a chance of Donald Trump's white threats through Twitter actually becoming more applicable to the foreign policy world by looking at this influence. And when we look at John Bolton specifically, we see that he has a very America First mindset himself. And so that paired with Donald Trump, it now gives Donald Trump the influence to take his threats outside of the internet and actually put it towards Iran. And this is going to become really pivotal whenever we're looking at today's question, because once they pull out of the Iran deal, what becomes really pivotal, which was described in this Washington Post article, is that Donald Trump doesn't care how it's going to affect the Middle East, Europe, or the entire global community. He's worried about America first, and right now he sees that as a nuclear threat. However, once you get past that broad image of your puzzle, the next best thing to do is to start filling in the pieces. The pieces are being filled in by North Korea. We see that right now, as stated by the Al Jazeera News on April 4th, that Donald Trump is actually encouraging this summit to go on between North and South Korea. He wants this to happen, and he wants the peace treaty to happen. However, this Al Jazeera article does a great job of describing how Donald Trump's intentions are more selfish than nothing else. Whenever we're looking at it specifically, Donald Trump wants this to happen because he wants to be able to have this North Korea nuclear summit at the end of May or early June. What this is going to lead to is a conversation of North Korea destroying their huge surplus of nuclear weapons. However, NBC News puts this in perspective for us on April 17th, looking at the new Security Team Council and how they played a role in this. We see that Mike Pompeo specifically was all for bombing North Korea first. This becomes really crucial whenever we're comparing this to Donald Trump's Twitter back in early September, whenever he threatened North Korea with fire and fury if they did the wrong move or used their nuclear weapons. So we see that right now, although Donald Trump is encouraging these peace talks, he's encouraging it because he wants to pull out all the troops from South Korea and all 4,000 troops from Japan in order to be able to create this more nationalized mindset in America. In the end, when you compare with Mike Pompeo's mindset of bombing North Korea first, he sees this as a win-win for America. Either North Korea destroys all their nuclear weapons on their own, or America's going to do it for them. And we're going to see this through this nationalized America First mindset through Mike Pompeo specifically. However, the only way to actually build your puzzle, the third and final thing you have to do is to put in that last piece to create your image. This last piece for this new nationalized foreign policy that Donald Trump's security team is hoping to build is going to come through Syria. Right now on April 5th, the meeting just happened. In fact, ABC News continues to explain this meeting. On April 5th, basically Donald Trump and his security team, minus Bolton, came and had this conversation because Donald Trump wants to pull troops out of Syria right now. He sees this as a money suck. America's putting in all of this money and getting nothing in return. In Donald Trump's eyes, another community from the global world should have came in and helped. However, instead, it's America's duty. And Donald Trump doesn't see this through a moral obligation lens as other administrations have in the past. Instead, he's seeing this through an economy perspective, which is what The Economist extends on April 20th by looking at this through this lens. In fact, we actually saw something unique here because Bolton wasn't at this April 5th meeting. And The Economist describes this as being very critical whenever we're looking at the influence that Bolton has on Donald Trump specifically. Because the rest of the security team wasn't for pulling troops out of Syria, Donald Trump did agree to wait. However, he goes ahead and extends with full confidence that he knows that Bolton will have his back. And so because of this, because the influence coming on from these new security members, specifically Bolton in the sense of Syria, soon as Donald Trump pulls these troops out of Syria, which is more of a prominent chance now more than ever, this is going to become really pivotal in the globalized community as a whole, because that's going to show the entire world that we are working on America first mindset. We're not worried about the moral obligation of the global community like the past administrations have. So when looking back at today's question, what is new foreign policy going to look like under the new Security Council and Trump? We see that this was best answered through, it's going to be truly America first. This was best shown through pulling out of the Iran nuclear deal and how this May 15th decision is going to become crucial. But then looking at North Korea and seeing how we want North Korea to either make this peace treaty or we're going to bomb them. But then third and finally, looking at pulling troops out of Syria. It shows that right now Donald Trump and his security team are trying to build a puzzle of their own to create a beautiful image of a nationalized America.